Welcome to your weekly space of self-indulgence, discovery, and community. I'm your host, Mariah, here to guide you through insights, tips, and stories. Thanks for joining me. Now let's get started. Welcome back to the Self-Indulgent Podcast. I'm your host, Mariah. Today's episode is going to be about wellness, things that fall under that wellness umbrella. For me, a big piece of my wellness has been weight loss journeys and things like that. It's so much more than that, right? Like wellness as a whole, it's so much more than that and involves so much. Honestly, I'm kind of tired of hearing the word, but it is, I wouldn't know how else to kind of encompass everything and describe it, to be honest. So that is what we're going to call it for now. So I thought that in my journey, all these years of being in like a weight loss journey, I'm putting quotation marks if you are listening and not watching. I've learned a lot through that, right? Like there's so much that comes with that. I don't think we realize how everything kind of just like intertwines together. So I've learned a lot. I want to say since 2018, I've been on this journey and I've tried all the things. Like I could probably give you reviews on like a bunch of different supplements, diet plans, all these things and what works and what didn't work. So I feel pretty good about talking about this because I kind of want to make wellness and like health and fitness and all those things less scary because it was a lot for me. Like definitely had some disordered eating along the way, really poor self-image. Like I've been through it all. And I finally think I'm starting to get a hang of it, especially in adulthood. What works, what doesn't work, some of the science behind some of the things. And this industry, man, the wellness industry, while there are certain aspects that I do like, and there are influencers I follow and I like some aspects, at the end of the day, it is still a multi-billion-dollar industry. And there are lots of cons to that as well. So I want to start first before I get into I made like this list of these like debunking of myths, things that I've tried, my experience on them, supplements, all the things, and just the truth. Or maybe I shouldn't say the truth, rather just what is necessary and what is unnecessary. I feel like I got a good handle on that. So we'll go through that. But first, I kind of want to just give some background story of my journey, how I've started. So growing up, I don't think I thought about health and wellness very much. Family members talked about losing weight, maybe something like that. But I was a kid, running around, not thinking about any of that stuff. So then going into middle school, that stage of like puberty and baby fat. So like, I think that was the first time where I started to have a poor self-image. We all know kids are school. Middle school was horror for me. I wouldn't do it again if you paid me to do it again. That's where some of that negative self-talk started. It was probably in middle school, baby fat. My body was changing. It was a lot going on. Didn't understand what was going on. On top of that, it looked so different for everybody. That was a huge thing, is that it just looked very different for different people. Nobody's like adolescent puberty journey was the same, right? And we all were going through it differently. And that is also challenging because then it's like there are things that like nobody's talking about and people are embarrassed by. And like I remember, the period being like this, oh my God thing, which it didn't bother me when I got my first period. I didn't really think much of it, but I did notice that in school, like there were definitely thoughts about it, but nobody was talking to us about our bodies. Health class was a joke. Let's be real. Like I don't even want to talk about it. Like I'm currently in a dual degree program for human sexuality, and it's just so crazy what I'm learning in like this master's program. And it is absolutely absurd the way that health classes are taught in schools, public schools, probably even private schools. Just like what is taught is like completely wrong. Like it's not even just a matter of like they're not telling us everything. That is true, but then also it's like there's lies. There are built-in lies, but this is nothing new. Like the same thing goes with history. There's a lot. there. Nobody was talking to us about it, so all I knew is that my body was changing. I didn't really like how I looked. I got made fun of, and that was that. So that kind of started negative views of body. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I then, went into high school and slimmed out and all these things, but I still felt very big. Like I was 5'7" probably since, I want to say 7th or 8th grade year of middle school. I've been 5'7" since then. I stopped growing in high school, but I've been 5'7" that whole time. And so I already was big in that aspect because other people hadn't hit their kind of growth spurts yet. And so when I got into high school, that started to change, slimmed out, all these things. And I still, though, felt big. And I look back at pictures now and I was like, wow, body dysmorphia is a thing, because I'll look at those pictures now and I'm like, you thought you were big? That's crazy. That's absurd. So there was a lot of comparisons of what other people looked like. I was bigger than other people, so I just felt big when that wasn't the case. I then graduated high school, got into my first serious relationship. I'm still in that relationship, and I definitely gained the, what is it, like, is it what, 10 pounds, 20 pounds when you're in like your relationship weight, like in the very beginning, because we were going out to eat constantly. We both were still at home and doing school, so we didn't have any bills to pay. So, I mean, aside from like maybe like car insurance, stuff like that, phone bill maybe, but we weren't paying rent or anything like that. So we were constantly like going out to eat, going out to movies, trying new things. And then I started to let my eating habits kind of go out of control, because, as I got older, my relationships are changing, my friendships are changing, I'm changing, I'm going into young adulthood, and then depression and anxiety. And I definitely developed a really poor relationship with it. Is definitely one of my coping mechanisms. I still struggle with that till this day. I'll get more into that later on some of the ways that I've been able to fix that. But like one of my biggest things is like at the end of the night, especially binging and not even realizing. So at that time when I gained probably, I want to say 50 pounds in like a 3-year time span probably. And it was rough. It was very rough. It was definitely very much related to my mental health, and also not being a kid anymore, having my own job, having a relationship, and just being able to just eat whatever I want whenever I wanted. And especially in a stricter household, I went buck wild. And not even just a stricter household. I will say we didn't have all the money in the world, and we were a pretty big family. Like I'm the oldest of 4, so that's a 6 household to feed. And so no, we were not going out to eat a lot at that time. Like once I had that ability to do it for myself, forget about it. I was going crazy. So all of those things just really set me up for a very poor overall health and wellness. Like I just wasn't even at that time like into mental, like I was discovering psychology, so I wasn't super involved yet. I didn't understand it completely. So mental health, I was not really like thinking about it. I just always felt bad or sad or moody and just thought that's just how it is, and I would be easily irritated, and that's just where I was. And then you have the wanting freedom and control. And I think that also plays a role into my eating habits at the time, and just wanting to be able to do what I want when I wanted. That was my first time being able to do it, so I went overboard. I was never interested in cooking really. Like we ate similar things every week growing up in the house, and so I never really got interested in cooking. I never cared for it. So yeah, there's a lot of like naiveties and just like not really knowing. in general, I think, how to take care of myself. Like, I think that's the overarching theme. And I think that makes sense for somebody who was coming out of adolescence and moving into young adulthood. We don't know how to take care of ourselves in a holistic way. And yeah, I was independent, and I was doing school and figuring things out for myself and got my license. Like, there were things I was doing. Like, I wasn't not growing and learning and doing things, but it was very hard to do certain other things, take care of myself in ways that I think we weren't talking about enough back in like 2016, 2017. It started, but it didn't reach me yet anyway. And then I got into the field of psychology, and that kind of opened my mind to things and made me understand behaviors and patterns and people. And I was able to have a very deep level of self-reflection and self-awareness that kept growing all the time, and it no longer allowed me to not be able to research, look into these things, and learn more in general. I'm going to speed it up to COVID. I think COVID had finally given me the opportunity, because I had tried from like 2018 to up until COVID 2020 to lose weight. Like, I kept trying to lose weight, it wasn't working. At that time I bought I tried a waist trainer. I bought Sweet Sweat. You probably know what that is. It's like that sweatband, and then like the body stick that goes with it. I bought that. I tried to do like fitness plans at home, and I tried going for jogs on the track with my partner at one point. That was very short-lived. Like, I don't even know if you remember that, but it was a very, very short-lived thing. Like, I was trying to do things, nothing was working. I hated it all. And I don't think enough people talk about, like, when you haven't been fit or exercised consistently, intentionally before, it is not fun. It doesn't matter what size you are. If you're not active, it is uncomfortable. It is very uncomfortable in the beginning, because I'm not going to sit here. I go to the gym all the time now, and I'll talk more about like what it looks like for me now. It took 3 years, if not, no, I'm gonna say more than that. It took 5 years for me to be able to get to the point where I know that I'm going to go to the gym, regardless of how I feel. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it done. And if I give myself a break, I know I'm going to get back up and I'm going to do it the next day instead. And to trust myself in that. It took me 5 years to get to that point. It's not something I worry about anymore. It's not like, oh, am I going to do this? Am I going to do this? Can I trust myself to do it? I finally have broke that, but it took a long time, and there's reasons for that. And I think, the industry plays a role in that. They don't really set you up for success. And, I fell into a lot of these traps. It was so bad that I had gotten a gym membership and was locked in for a year. And of course, I was one of those people that didn't know, and my partner paid for it, and I just didn't go. Like, I just didn't go. I was overwhelmed. I was so frustrated. I was very intimidated by the gym, and I felt so guilty for not going and using it once we found out we couldn't get out of it for the year. And I mean, now I know what to look for in these gym plans, but they definitely got me. And then after that, I think I at some point joined Planet Fitness for the first time, was very inconsistent, didn't really want to go, would go here and there. This was pre-COVID. Me and my partner would go. We probably successfully went 2 to 3 times a week, but it was just very on and off. Like, I don't remember it being super consistent. Like, it wasn't like maybe we did it for 6 months. I can't really remember at this point, but we eventually, COVID hit. If you listen to some of my earlier episodes on this podcast, I had talked about COVID was a big change for me. I had always asked, I just need, if I could just not have to work full-time, school full-time, I could get it together. I know I could get it together. I believe that I could get it together. It's too much. Full-time work, full-time school. It's too much for me to be able to also then focus on my wellness when I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to move my body at this point. And so I was also diagnosed with lupus right before COVID hit, Christmas time before 2020, that was a whole nother layer. So when we talk about wellness, like your medical history matters. So I was on a steroid, and what do steroids do? They hold water weight, they can make you gain weight. Because of that, I very much had I always look swollen in the face. Like they call it, I think, moon face. I just felt horrible. And so when I finally had the opportunity to be home because my job closed down, school went virtual, I took it seriously. And I don't know what changed, what clicked, but I ended up doing, at the time they were called Beachbody. I think now they're just called BOD. But I ended up signing up for Beachbody. I really enjoyed it just because it's like Netflix for workouts. Or on demand for workouts. Like it's literally a bunch of programs that you can choose from. I ended up signing up for their bar class, and that was really interesting. I've never done anything like that. My biggest thing is I don't like running, jumping, high impact. I hate it. HIIT? Absolutely not. I don't like it. So for somebody who was at their heaviest weight and who had not been consistent moving in general and sitting at a desk all day, because I was also a receptionist at work and then sitting in class all day. So there was just not a lot of movement. There wasn't a lot of movement at all. I did this 8-week bar program at home and I lost my first 30 pounds. I changed my eating. I just hit a flow. I hit a flow. I definitely work better with some sort of structure and instruction, especially, and that makes sense for somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. And so it worked for me. I do think that if in the beginning, when the gym is intimidating, 100% at-home workouts can be very effective. If you can follow a program, I think that's even better, because programs by real trainers, real certified personal trainers, and instructors, when they make a program, there's a buildup. You're going to do the same movements in certain weeks on certain days, and it's building the strength in that certain area. And they make it in a way that it works. Now, I will say, it's obviously not going to be personalized to you and your goals, but working out consistently and then eating in a caloric deficit, you're going to lose weight. I just felt good. I felt really good. That program's whole thing was positivity and affirmations. And at that time, that stuff worked for me. And so once the gyms opened back up, I did sign up for a gym. And then I followed people's workouts on Instagram. The Instagram community that I was in at the time, I feel was great. It was the wellness fitness community that I found worked well for me. And let me just say this. I think it's really important. If you're on some sort of wellness and health journey, I think it's very important to find people that look like you or are in the same culture as you. I just think that makes a huge difference, because I definitely wasn't just in a group of a bunch of white girls like that, and that's the truth of the matter. And that was helpful to me. It was a very diverse following that I had, and people that I followed that were just like me. And so that was pretty cool. And I think that's what's important. I think when you go on social media looking for a community or looking for help and advice and people who are doing it like you, who are maybe not influencers, I think it's important to know and to find people who you're comfortable with and who you want to be supported by if you're going to go on social media for assistance. Since then, had just been consistent in the gym. I would say 3 to 5 days a week I was in the gym. In the summer, when I was off from school, it was harder for me to be consistent, especially because I was by myself a lot. Especially during the summer, I moved out of my parents' house in 2021 to come to grad school. So the summer before grad school started, I wasn't as consistent as I should have been, or as I wanted to be rather. And then grad school started, and again, it wasn't super consistent, but I was still going enough to say yeah, I work out. And again, still just following people's meals plan. I downloaded the app Evolve You and followed those programs. I still ended up gaining back actually almost all the weight I had lost when I started grad school in the first 2 years. And that 100% was like stress eating, depression, horrible time. Horrible time my first 2 years of grad school. And so even with going to the gym here and there pretty consistently, my eating habits were just really bad. I should also mention that from 2020 to 2022, I was vegetarian. I only ate eggs and dairy. And then eventually after like a year and a half, I added back fish. And then after 2 years, I ended up eating meat again. For me, I found it very hard to be wanting to be on a weight loss journey and then not eat protein. Like I already struggled with healthier meals, so not being able to eat like just chicken in general made it even harder for me. I know that you can do it on a plant-based diet. I still didn't know what I was doing on that end of things. All throughout all of this, I counted my calories, I did all those things, and it's just never worked for me. So when it comes to diet plans, I've tried Noom, I've tried Weight Watchers, I've tried keto, I've tried, what's the Atkins? Yeah, I've tried them all. I've tried all of those. I think the one that I had the closest success with was Noom. I don't think any of those diet plans are necessary. I don't think you should give those people your money. That's just me personally. I'll get more into that in a second though. In this past year, I've gotten it together as far as fitness goes. I still struggle here and there with emotional eating and just making the right choices and finding the time to meal prep and things like that, or making healthier choices. I currently have a personal trainer. That's been going really well. I have seen crazy changes. We're working on body recomp. And so what that means is we're working on essentially just I'm losing fat while gaining muscle. Doing both at the same time is really what body recomp is. That's been going really well for me. I have only lost like 4 pounds overall, but I've lost like 4 inches in my waist, an inch or so off my thighs. Like it's doing the things, like, and the pictures are showing the proof. So I'm not very concerned about the scale. So this has been my journey. This is where I'm at. And I'm finally at a point where I just go to the gym. The gym is helping me survive. The gym is getting me through grad school. I'm at a point where it's like I'm in the gym for like 2 hours. Part of that has to do with the workouts that I'm doing with my personal trainer, but a lot of it is also I like being in there. It really does boost mood. 100% boosts moods. So now let's talk about some tips, some things that you should be aware of, things that I want you to learn from my mistakes. Okay, so first, and oh my God, please don't come for me. Please, if this is what you want to do, go ahead. But the waist trainers, the sweatbands, like the Sweet Sweat, that stuff does not do anything to help you lose fat. You cannot choose specific areas to lose fat. That is not how that works. The only way, and I'm going to say this one time, the only way to lose fat, period, is to be in a caloric deficit. Meaning you have to burn more calories than you are consuming in a day. This is why people say you could lose weight without exercising. You can. You're also going to lose muscle, but you can lose weight without exercising. That's why they say 80% diet, 20% exercise. Because technically you burn calories from breathing. You burn calories in your sleep. Your body has a natural level of burnage that it's going to burn by you doing nothing. If you eat less calories in a day than your baseline burn from not doing anything, you could lose weight. So if you ate, for example, if you had salads 3 times a day and you ended up only eating 1,200 calories, don't do that. You don't need to do that. That's really low. But if you ended up eating 1,200 calories and your regular burn is 1,400 calories, if you consistently do that, you're going to lose weight without working out. So that's what I mean by that. However, if you exercise, it can allow you to eat a little bit more. I will link down below if you would like to. So you might be wondering, how am I supposed to figure out what my resting calories are? And there's calculators. There's calculators online. There's calculators online. I will link the ones that have, I believe, the most scientific evidence backing them. It's going to give, there's usually a range of calories that you can eat. Right now, mine is 1,800 to 2,000. That is the only way to lose fat. You do not have to track anything. And if you have a history of eating disorders or anything like that, I would not recommend it. There is ways of intuitive eating. There are tons of videos out there on ways to eat more intuitively while losing weight. With all of that being said, again, that is why those waist trainers, sweatbands, whatever, you're not losing fat because of them. That's not happening. Sweating more doesn't necessarily mean, and there's research on this, sweating more doesn't necessarily mean that you're burning more calories. That's not how that works. And so that's a huge misconception. You don't need that stuff. If you want to wear that stuff, that's fine. I know a lot of people who do it so they can, and they wear it under clothes, and that's fine. It's like shapewear. But if you're doing it with the intention of it's going to get rid of fat, you're wasting your money. The biggest thing I can recommend as far as diet goes, right? So I said I don't recommend any of those diet plans. They're not sustainable. All you have to do is be in a caloric deficit if you want to lose weight and eat more protein. Again, there are calculators that could tell you how much protein you want to eat. And for me, it is easier for me to just focus on tracking my protein in grams, so my macros, and just focus on the protein. I'm not worried about fat. I'm not worried about carb like that. I'm worried about staying in my caloric deficit and eating my protein goal for the day. That's it. That's all I'm worried about. You can do that intuitively. There's ways you could do that intuitively. Over time, you'll learn how much a ounce of chicken, how much protein is in that, and you'll hit your protein eventually. That is how I have been body recomping, is I'm focusing on increasing my protein and working out and trying to be in a caloric deficit. So what has held me back, the gym is not a problem. It hasn't really been a problem for a long time for me. It is the food aspect of things. And so I don't like cooking. I hate cooking. Maybe in a future time, I'll enjoy cooking, but in a doctoral program, it's the last thing I want to do. It's the last thing I want to worry about. Don't like it. It's not for me. So that limits, right? Kind of what I'm eating and the time I'm giving to it and thinking about it. So that's one. Two, I am a nighttime binger. At the end of the day, especially with dealing with anxiety and depression and all those things, and after a full day, I have a hard time with cravings. It gets really bad because that has been my coping for years previously. And so I have finally found the only thing for me so far, and I highly recommend it because somebody else recommended it to me. The only thing that has stopped those cravings, no supplement, none of that stuff, the only thing that has stopped it is working out in the evenings. Going to the gym, and I'm listen, I know if I'm losing you, I'm sorry, but listen. You can ask my friend, she was just telling me the other day, wow, you're getting really flexible with your routines and stuff because you swore you was never going to be an evening gym person. I did. I said I'm a morning gym. I have to get it out the way. And that was, because I was still trying to it was something that I wasn't necessarily super thrilled about. I would enjoy it once I was in it, but I still had a hard time getting there at one point. And so I had to go in the morning because I had to get it out the way. I had to get up. Pre-workout was something that I enjoyed taking. I liked the taste of it. That helped incentivize getting up in the morning and going. That is why I was doing it in the morning. It was very hard for me to go in the evening. I thought it was this impossible thing that I couldn't do. And would be the end of me. I just would be too tired. I'm not going to enjoy it. I would psych myself out. Honestly, a lot of the reasons why certain things are hard for us in general is because we psych ourselves out. It's all in our head. And it's true, it was all in my head because I started doing it in the evenings this last semester. So I started in September and I got an accountability buddy that also really helped. And we started going to our school's gym. We also had Planet Fitness memberships, but we would go right after classes. So a full day of classes from 9:30 to we would have our lunch break in between, and then we would have class until 4:45. We would get up and go straight after class and be mentally fatigued, mentally like done, tired. Eyes are like, what the hell? Like they don't want to be open anymore. And we would get up, get in there. And the second we started, that was it. That feeling went away. We were in the zone and it was great. And that 100% stopped my cravings. It stopped my evening cravings because we were going after 5. When you are doing a good workout, so we would lift and do an incline speed walk, and that 100% killed it. Because when I came home, like your body, technically your metabolism is still going. Like all those things are still going. You're still burning higher amounts of calories and stuff like that. Like I didn't want to just stuff myself. I didn't feel like it. It wouldn't take much to fill me after that. And then I'd go to sleep. And I'd be good. I wouldn't wake up super hungry, none of that. It really helped curb my cravings. So if you can work out in the evening, I know it sucks. It eventually gets easier. It does. I'm telling you it does. Especially, and brings me to my next point, especially if you're seeing progress. And I'm not saying your progress has to be weight loss. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is your progress could be feeling stronger. I'm telling you. The first time I felt my shoulder muscle develop, and like there's like this dip here now, head blown, head increased 3 sizes, 100%. Like I was feeling myself. I was convinced I could do a push-up, still can't do that. But I was so proud of like just getting stronger and feeling like fit, like I was physically capable of more. That is what I really wanted. So like think, fitness, wellness, like I really just wanted to feel physically more capable to do things, especially as I'm getting older. Like I want to feel active still, especially since I didn't take advantage of it in childhood. I really didn't. It's true. I did sports for social reasons. Like I wasn't really trying to be active. Like I was on the track team and I did throwing. I was not trying to run ever. That's something I'm still not doing. It's not for me. I don't like it. But that's fine. You have to find what works for you. And if it is weight loss, I would recommend progress pictures more than I would ever recommend stepping on the scale. Right now with my personal trainer, she only is having me weigh myself once a month. And if the gym is too much for you, I would start with at-home workouts. They're so accessible now. So it could be anything. And so try them all, see what you like. There's going to be some form of physical activity that is just for you. It doesn't have to be lifting. I really enjoy lifting, but that didn't come along until after I did bar and after I did a year of being at home doing different workouts. That was like a starting point. And I want to emphasize journey. Like this is why everything is a journey, because I'm only where I am today because of those previous versions of myself. So it's gonna take time. You gotta take the pressure off yourself and just remember that you're just trying to take care of yourself. At the end of the day, wellness in general is finding ways to better take care of yourself so that you can do the things that you want to do, that you really care about. And if you are like me and you don't like cooking, anything pre-cut is your friend. I get a lot of the pre-cut Perdue skinless, boneless chicken breasts, and it's just pre-cut. And I mean, yeah, it's raw. I still gotta cook it, but I hate cutting meat. I don't like it. I don't like cutting anything up. And actually, I don't like taking out the cutting board. So pre-cut is helpful. And depending on where you're grocery shopping, like pre-marinated, pre-seasoned, even that, like those are ways to get around it so that you're not stressed out about it, so that you're still, getting your stuff in. Meal prepping is something else I want to talk about. I still don't like meal prepping. And let me tell you why. Depending on what the food is, it's nasty after a certain day. So if you're going to meal prep, because when you are busy, it is helpful so that you're not just constantly like eating out and spending your money. I would do it for a few days at a time. Or, when you buy a pack of that pre-cut chicken, for me, I'll cook it, put it in a Tupperware, and then use it in different ways, like chicken quesadilla. I'll do chicken quesadilla, chicken and rice, chicken, whatever. Let's talk about supplements. I don't even want to know how much money I've spent on supplements. Don't want to know. The only supplements that I am continuing to take right now are pre-workout, not certain brands I don't take. I am trying to buy things that are third-party tested, as been advised by my personal trainer. I think my favorite has been RSP Nutrition. That's been my favorite pre-workout. So I take pre-workout, I take creatine, and I take magnesium glycinate, and all three of those are empirically supported. I've stopped taking any other supplement. Like unless it's a multivitamin or a probiotic, I don't do it. There's so much out there on the market, unless it's recommended by your doctor or maybe, I guess, your trainer. It's just not necessary. Here's my biggest problem with the wellness, health, and fitness industries. They're constantly pushing things that are going to potentially try to treat a symptom and not the problem, so that you have to keep buying it because the symptoms are going to come back because the problem is still there. That's my tea. You just don't need any of them, especially like if you get your blood work done regularly. Like if you had like a super deficit in something, they would tell you that. And if you take anything else, like I'm not going to go through a list of things that I'm just like, I don't think you need that. If I didn't say it as my 3 things that I'm taking, I don't think you actually need it. If you feel like it's working for you, that's fine. We're giving them way too much money. That's how I feel about it. And depending on your goals, there is a natural way or a different way for you to achieve that goal, for sure, without supplements. I think something else that's really important, especially in America, is our quality of food is not great, and the things that our food is made out of is not great. It's actually really, really bad most of the time. And so I implore you to find your substitutions and things that are just made a little bit better, things that just replacements for sugars. Like I really enjoy Swerve. That to me has been the closest, or monk fruit sweetener. They taste the most like just regular sugar to me, but they're not. I also, like the low carb, I use low carb buns and low carb tortillas and stuff like that tastes just like the regular stuff. And that's can be helpful, like if you are on a weight loss journey. And so just find your substitutions, things that can replace what you're doing. I really like making high protein versions of a certain fast food item from TikTok videos. That's been really helpful. Like I use non-fat plain Greek yogurt instead of sour cream. That has been really helpful. And on a taco, burrito, whatever, you don't notice the difference. It tastes just like sour cream. Definitely find your substitutions, what you can and can't tolerate. That's going to make things a lot more easier because that's just going to be what you have in the house. Little changes like that can make a big difference depending on what you typically tend to eat a lot of. I also want to emphasize that weight fluctuation is normal. Your lifestyle is going to impact everything, all the things. Your lifestyle impacts everything that has to do with your wellness, like sleeping, all that stuff. So depending on what you're going through in your life, your weight's going to fluctuate depending on your schedule, depending on your lifestyle. If your lifestyle changes, it's possible that your weight will fluctuate. It's possible that your energy will fluctuate. It's possible our lifestyles directly impact our well-being 100%. And so don't feel ashamed or discouraged if something has changed When your life is changing, you're changing. So of course there's going to be changes. That is normal. It makes sense. There's nothing wrong with that. Overall, just don't put too much pressure on yourself to just be this perfect wellness baddie. That's not how it works. You have to want to take care of yourself. You need to come up with what that means for you. What is taking care of myself look like? What does taking care of myself look like for me? Taking care of myself, for me, for example, looks like moving my body, trying to get stronger and be more physically capable, increasing energy if I can, caring about what I'm eating and putting into my body, giving myself grace, and understanding that I don't have to be perfect and super strict, and I can enjoy taking care of myself and my well-being. And I am dedicated to finding ways to make it more enjoyable, for things to not feel like a chore, for things to not feel so defeating. And at the end of the day, we all have our habits and patterns. And if you are trying to change it and be different now, it's hard. That's going to be hard. You can't just, at the snap of a finger, completely change your way of life. It takes time. So I urge you to do small things, slowly add things in, slowly work on things like your mindset and your mental health, find your communities, slowly introduce different habits, and just know that it's going to take some time and you're not supposed to be perfect. It's not supposed to happen that way. That is everything that I have today. I could probably talk about this for hours, but I really don't want to, because everybody's different. There's so many layers to it. But this has kind of just been my journey, things that I've learned, things that I have experienced, and I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. Having a trainer has really helped me kind of get to the next level of fitness that I'm looking for, to challenge myself, and it's been really great. It's really like my hobby now. I spend 2 hours in there, so I'm calling it's a hobby. It's a huge part of my life right now, and I'm excited to see where it goes. And as far as my mental health, I'm still in therapy. I'm on medication. I try to reach out to friends as much as possible. I here and there still meditate, journal, but right now it's just not really working for me. I'm really more so focused on changing my routines and the way I schedule my days. That's taking up a lot of space. So I'm just kind of more focused on that and kind of building that muscle that I didn't have before, of being able to really hunker down and focus on a schedule and what I want to do in a day, because of all the things I want to accomplish now. So I've really got to kind of build that skill. I've always kind of just did what I had to do and did the things, and it's becoming a lot as I'm getting older, especially in this program and all those things. So I'm working on that. And before I go, I want you to comment below or think about, what is one wellness goal that you have for yourself or that you like for yourself? Or what's one thing in the wellness industry that you can't stand, you hate, doesn't make sense to you, and you want other people to know? I hope that this was helpful. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, please comment them down below. If you're watching this on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, let me know what you think. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a blessed and intentional week. Bye.